Welcome to the 39th meeting of Junto Club. It's been a bit because I've been bad about posting episodes, and this is an episode the world most definitely needs. In today's meeting, we talk about printing your favorite drink and a global phenomenon that everyone should be getting behind, K-pop. For any questions, comments, or if you'd like to rant on something important to you, email juntoclubpodcast@gmail.com. This is Junto Club.
Junto Club.
Welcome to the 39th meeting of Junto Club. Junto Club is a podcast that was formulated by me, Michael Petnati, Xu Zhang, and Matthew O'Brien as a means of largely staying connected following our graduate school experience, but it's based on the experiences of Benjamin Franklin and his friends back in the early 18th century, where they formed a club for mutual self-improvement. So every 2 weeks, month, or week, or whatever time period we decide to get together, we discuss philosophy, news, politics, and various other things that interest us as a means of better understanding the world around us and ourselves and each other. So today's main topic is K-pop, and Jake Christensen is here to talk about that as our resident expert. But Shu likes to start. These episodes with a quote. So Shu, take it away.
All right. So today's quote is from Warren Buffett. Actually, I think the sayings maybe not original from him, but a lot of people attribute it to him. So the quote is, "The early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese." End quote.
Classic.
So basically just wait for the first guy to die and then take the cheese off.
Yes, exactly.
Is that how he got all his money?
Exactly.
He just waited to see people make bad investments he waited to see people fail and then invested in what? I mean, I guess I'm trying to figure out the investing aspect. I mean, it's still it's definitely a good quote, just in the sense of if you want to take it one level of abstraction, where it's okay, see where people fuck up and then don't make their mistakes but yeah. I mean, I guess I don't necessarily see the immediate application to investing though.
I guess you could argue if you take really risky investments, that's kind of the first mouse, right? And you have your potential payoff, but if you're doing that multiple times, the chance you get screwed, it's really high, right? If you keep doing risky things, eventually you're going to get bit. Mm-hmm. So maybe he's just saying don't be too risky in a very simplified way. Or it could be literally let other people take the crazy risks. And then, if it works out, follow suit, right? You don't need to be the first person who bought Bitcoin at $1, right? If you bought Bitcoin at $100,
yeah,
you're still, rich, right? Something like that. So.
Yeah.
But not as rich as the person that get the $1.
That's true. But for everything that works out like that, there's 9 that fail. So right.
Yeah. So I think he talked about this in the context, I think, about business strategies, about when you're starting a business, right? I think he's saying about if you're the first one in a category, for example, Google, right? Google is not the first search engine, right? The ones before it all fails, right? I think Google is probably the 10th. And then Facebook is not the first social network, right? You already remember, what's the one?
iPhone wasn't the first smartphone.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been always the frontier of the business. You have a higher chance of getting killed and fail, right? I think this is kind of interesting to startup investing. To me, is a lot of startups when they pitch investor, when they say, "Oh, we are the first of doing this, first company doing this, no one is doing this, but we are the first." When they all something called something advantage there's an advantage like being the first, right? Because you get a customer and stuff like that. I forgot the name, the term for it, but
competitive.
Actually, when you not competitive advantage.
Well, that's
like early something advantage, like because you're the first mover advantage, right? So our startup try to claim as a first mover advantage, but in this kind of cautions us as the first mover actually is not really a good advantage, right? You might actually be the first one, like as you mentioned earlier, the first one you're gonna be like first one get killed because you are in the frontier, in the front, right? So, yeah.
The second group. Yeah. Later people can learn from everything you did without having to pay the costs.
Exactly.
And then sweep in. So,
Yeah.
That's a good point. It's definitely a trend that exists. Something to keep in mind.
Yeah. Just being a second mouse.
So basically, if you have a good idea that no one's doing, you should tell someone else, hey, you should do this. Like, I'm giving you a head start. And then.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because idea is cheap, right? Execution is what matters in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like, that's a quote I like. Where's that from?
That's from, I heard it from somewhere else. I forgot.
I'm just going to attribute it to you.
Okay, good.
And I'm going to post it places and be like, Xu Sheng.
I paraphrased from someone, so yeah. Yeah.
All right. So that's quote of the day done.
Yeah. So speaking of startups, I guess startups right now actually there's an interesting startup I want to mention. It's called Cana. I think you can see it at cana.com, like CANA, and you guys look at it, right? What do you think?
So I looked at it briefly, and my main thing is what can it actually make?
So the idea on Cana is pretty simple. So the idea is that you have a machine like countertop almost similar to the size of a microwave, and home can make any drink you want. You just press one button, get any drink you want. Coke, like cola, of course, like wine and iced tea, sports drinks, anything you want. Basically, just one machine can make any drink you want. So when I like to say, Cana actually is coming from the origin. Anybody know the Cana? What Cana means? Cana is the original, I think, the city where Jesus turned water into wine. So so I think that's they name it Cana. So it's like turning water into wine. I think that's where the original story idea kind of inspiration comes from. And they can do. Instead of just wine, we can do actually any drink.
So they put Jesus in this box and he just makes anything for you?
Exactly.
All right.
So some of these make sense, right? Because the basic pitch is they have like actually all the ingredients separated out, right? And it's like, okay, you have sugar, you have flavors, you have alcohol for your alcoholic drinks and stuff. And I could see how you could make sodas and some other stuff, but like wine, like wine has a lot of ingredients in it, right? It's a very complex drink from fermenting grapes. How does that work? Surely they don't have all the ingredients separated out. Is there like a wine cartridge that's like the base, and then they add some more sugar or alcohol as you need?
I bet you it's just grape juice and alcohol.
Exactly.
And they just mix it, and there you go, and you're like, oh, this is wine.
So here's I think the original inspiration of the company they talk about. I think is originally is based on a study that the research paper basically did a study on like, okay, what's the compound that actually make wine taste like wine, right? What's wine is actually made out of? And then when the paper basically drill down, there's only 8 elements, 8 molecules or 8 compounds that you only need to combine them and you get actually wine, right? So because the 90% of wine is water, right? Or 98%, and most of them is just water. And then the ingredient actually, you say it's very complex, many elements, but most of them doesn't really matter. Only the essential one actually just like 8 of them. If you combine them, you actually get wine, right? So this cartridge. So when I do it, the cartridge actually have 80, I think it's about 80 compounds. And if you combine them in a different way, you get almost like infinite drinks, basically. So wine is just one of them.
I could maybe see that you could approximate a bunch of different drinks with like these 80 as you say. But I mean, how many drinks are you actually getting per cartridge?
It's a month worth. I'm not sure. Of course, if you drink
I'm not buying that.
If you drink every single minute of the day, of course, it's not going to be lasting long, right? I don't know, maybe 30, 40, 50 drinks, maybe. Now, how many cocktails are you going to drink a month? Depends on if you're alcoholic, I guess.
I don't know. I'm definitely would be interested in try it, right? And like I said, I'm sure like there's some like cocktails and like simple soft drinks and stuff. It could do like perfect. I would expect it could do very well, but I'd be very interested in trying its wine and some of the more complex drinks, right? And being like, how well does this really match?
Yeah, I feel like all the winos are just like, how dare you say it's only.
They would clearly be offended and would accept it. I would be fair. I would be willing to try it and see like, does this actually taste good enough as like real wine or not?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not too hardcore about wine, so.
So what I like about this company is that I think so here's one thing that I really like about it is they realize that 90% of any drinks is just water, right? So, and then we spend so much energy, environment, like the CO2 emission to ship them around. Like you go by Coke cans, right? And these are shipping from one, across the country, across the state borders, right? Because but most time you're just moving waters around, right? But if you have this, actually, you don't really need to move all those water from, right? You can get, just get those compounds and then just make the drinks at home, right? So I guess that's an environmental perspective. Like, yeah. So looks like you have something on your face that you want to say.
Well, I'm just thinking like the taste of this may change depending on the county in which you live, right? If you're using local water. So,
as long as you don't use clean water.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's basically what I was like. I mean, like there are definitely places where your water is not going to be good. And, I mean, so I'm curious about like the filtration they use and stuff like that. Cause
I don't think it'll be sold in Mexico. So that's
I mean, your standard Brita filter, right? Like does a pretty good job of making any tap water taste good. So I'm sure you could either use that to pour in or they probably have a filter in it, right? That's probably not too big of a deal. But this isn't, so one thing to note though is this isn't the first like make your own drink device, although it's definitely the most flexible. I don't know. I feel like the idea.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Go ahead.
Well, people have been having like make your own soft drink machines, right? That do like carbonated, like, and they'll have sodas and like fruity beverages, right?
Yeah,
those have been around for a while.
But I think they are combining flavors together, right? But they are not combining just molecules, right?
Yeah. No, this is taking it up a level, right? Yeah. Like, so you have a lot more potential things to make, not just like a dozen drinks or so.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I never really saw the make your own drink things at home kick off that much. I'm just not, I feel like, I think the technology is good, but I'm just concerned if the vast majority of people might be like too lazy and don't even like, just don't care about buying a bottle of something.
Yeah.
But I guess you don't need, if you get 5% of the US to buy it, that's still a shit ton of people. So, but I don't know. There's just I feel like I can't describe it, but even in myself, I can feel like a mental barrier to like wanting to like set this up and use it, even though the idea sounds good.
Because I feel like
it makes sense.
Yeah, because I feel like nothing would taste exactly like I'm not gonna get a Coca-Cola from this thing, right? I mean, like.
Oh, you can get Coca-Cola, but it's not gonna brand it as Coca-Cola, but it's gonna taste very similar.
It's gonna taste like so. What, Pepsi? Is that all it's gonna be?
Yeah.
I don't want Pepsi. All right, I want a Coca-Cola. God damn it!
We got some Atlanta area residents here, very passionate about our authentic Coke. But
in theory, with these molecules, they could make it like a McDonald's fountain Coke, right?
Oh, see if they do that, that's tangy.
If that was an option, like the like fast food fountain Coke, which does taste better for some reason, I don't know why.
It does. I don't know. I like fountain soda better out of all. Like Like, give me a fountain soda over bottled, can, any of that stuff. So if it tasted like that, then I'd be like, all right, it might be worth the $800. I think I looked it up. I think that's how much it's worth.
Yeah, $5.99 the first 10,000.
Right.
Yeah,
that's like the special deal though. And if you're not one of the first 10,000, though, are they actually going to sell more than 10,000? I would be surprised, but
yeah, not sure.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's very interesting, but is this going to be the first mouse, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're innovating on this tech, but is the world ready for it? I don't know.
Yeah,
Jesus was the first mouse, all right?
And he died.
He did. Yeah, that trap got him. That trap got him, man.
CEOs at a meeting. We just really need to avoid crucifixion here.
Okay, so which one of us is buying this though, so we can test it out?
I think Shu should do it. He's the one who seems to be gung ho about it.
If Shu invested and bought in every crazy company he told us, he'd be broke. All right, he'd be in big debt.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I don't drink that much, so it's probably not good for me. I only drink like water, tea, coffee a little bit. I don't drink wine that much or alcohol beverage.
Yeah, and it can't make milk, which is a big part of my beverage diet. So
I'm not sure. I think he might be able to make milk.
Might be able to make milk. It wasn't in their list of things.
I mean, look. What's 90% of milk is water, right?
That is true.
Yeah, milk's also got like fat and protein and other stuff that's not in most beverages, right?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if he's able to make it, but he's possibly also this is first generation, right? Canon One, in the future they can do a lot of stuff. And
I would be interested, like, if they sold a cartridge that was like that could actually produce like 80 cans worth of Diet Coke, and it was worth like what you paid to get that cartridge was like cost less than 80 cans of Diet Coke, I would get it. Just because I drink enough Diet Coke to justify that cost. So
you'd burn the machine out. It would just not be able to.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like, if I could just like essentially pour Diet Coke out of my faucet, like, then I mean, it would save me literally probably like hundreds of dollars a year. So
Mike needs like 3 of these on the counter, pouring Diet Coke constantly.
Yeah. So
you mean $100 a week, Michael? Though.
Yeah.
And occasionally you can do vodka and Coke and rum, I guess, rum and Coke.
Yes. Well, Wait. That's about all I drink. So,
Shu, do you know how much it costs to like run this? Was that?
What do you mean?
Like the cost to get your new cartridge, basically the cost of what you can expect to pay, like
everything. I think the $5.99 is for the machine. I think cartridge is free and they ship it like whenever you're almost done with the cartridge. Now the reason the cartridge is free because they charge you per drink actually. So that's something they're working on right now. So that's why the machine is not expensive right now. So I think a soda maybe it would charge you 25 cents per drink basically.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's like,
so it's not zero cost.
I mean, what's your average can? 50 cents, maybe less if you really buy them in bulk. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying it's kind of interesting how they do it. Right? It's kind of the business, how they do the strategy, how they pricing is a little bit different. Interesting too. Because if you drink wine all the time, I guess they need to. Yeah. Anyway, they need to somehow to balance. Like, okay, how to charge you when per use instead of like charging a big machine. I don't know. If you just right. So
per use is an interesting way because on one hand, if they can directly compare the normal per drink price, they can drop it and make people be like, I'm saving money. But I feel like they can still collect more per use and probably like buy new cartridges, right? Because if you had to pay like $100 for a new cartridge, people might be like, oh, this is like too pricey. But if you've used 100, drinks out of it and they're like somewhere between $1 or $2 per drink, you might be like, this is this is worked out.
Yeah.
I don't know. The one thing I wish they did is sell. I wish they could send me a bottle of their Diet Coke and wine so you could taste test them before, you spend hundreds of dollars.
No, that's kind of defeat the purpose, right? Then the whole purpose is not to ship waters around.
It defeats the purpose of the invention, but it could give you confidence that you'd actually want it before you buy it, right?
Well, you can probably return it if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Right? It's only a small box, right? It's the microwave, right? You buy a microwave, you return it if you don't like it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. If they're really confident that their drinks like are good enough, I think they should sell like a few of the major like things like that. But
so
I was just gonna say I agree with Matt. I want to know it tastes like Diet Coke, and then maybe I'd do it. So
Jesus didn't have a free trial, guys. Jesus didn't have a free trial.
Just buy. I disagree. Just buy. I mean, yeah, it's not for like. I guess it's for like first like people that like to try the things out, like machines out first, right? It's not like early adopters, right? So I guess. And also, have you guys watched Star Trek, right?
I've seen some of it. Yeah, this is what are you talking about? The thing that assembles food?
Yeah, what's it called?
I don't know. I didn't watch that much.
I think a lot of people call about this like the replicator on Star Trek.
It did make me think of that. But it makes sense doing it with drinks first, right? Because with drinks, you just mix everything around, right? You don't have to assemble the molecules into like a structure to give it the right texture and shape. You just throw it together in water. So I was like, oh, this is like this super easy version of that Star Trek thing that lets them make any food they want.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool.
All right. Well, it doesn't sound like anyone's going to buy it, so we'll just have to wait.
I mean, not any of us, but, some people will buy it.
Mike, start putting out Craigslist ads for if anyone's to be like, I'm willing to buy, like, give you $10 to try Diet Coke from this machine.
That's true. I probably should. Yeah. I mean, with my luck, I'll just get someone through Craigslist, I'll get someone who's just looking to poison people.
Yeah.
I guess another thing I'd like to mention, another interesting business strategy of Canada is they want to make it into a platform. Like similar to YouTube, you can create any videos you want, right? So in here, you can actually create any drink you want. Like maybe for example, like Jake, it could be a creator of any kind of drink. So you can like try different compounds, mix it together. It became a Jake cocktail, stuff like that. And then people can actually if people like actually drink that drink like per use, right, you can get cut too, right? You can actually share the revenue too. So, and that's another interesting thing to do. So they could like I think they try to partner with like influencers and stuff like that. Now you can create any kind of drink, then bam, you're making a lot of share of revenue too. So.
I could use my own homemade ingredients in it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't think you even need homemade ingredient because you can I think you probably can make your homemade ingredient from those 80 compounds. So I wonder if they can make psychedelics. So that would be cool.
Oh. I'll add my own molecules to it. And you're like, this tastes a little weird. And I'm like, salty, right? And they're like, yeah. And a lot of copper too. And I'm like, yeah, it's blood. And there's a lot of stuff in there, guys. You're like, oh my God, get this machine away from him. Yeah, imagine that. That's what people will do with it. I mean, people are going to do that. Yeah, people are going to buy this thing and they're going to try to test. They're going to put crazy shit in it and be like, let's try this. Look at jizz soda. Let's try this jizz soda or something. And you're like, oh my God. It's a protein shake. And you're like, oh God. People will do it. I mean, I bet.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'll buy one.
All right. Jake's on it then.
But you don't want to test anything that I give you.
Mike, you can be the dummy.
Yeah.
I just want Diet Coke or Pepsi.
To be fair, machines that make Diet Coke at home already exist, right? They just give you the concentrate syrup and add carbonated water or whatever. But
that is true. I guess I've never investigated if fronting the money for something like that is worth it or if the taste is comparable. So I probably should, but just because I do waste a lot of money on soda. So.
All right. Moving on to next one.
All right.
So, go ahead, man.
I was going to say, well, there's an obvious topic that we could bring up that's happened since the last time we talked, which is, the war. But do we actually want to talk about it? Do any of us have meaningful opinions to give?
I mean, loose lips sink ships, Matt. All right, loose lips sink ships.
The Ukrainian Navy's doing their best. That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
This is just a joke because I don't think they have a Navy, or at least it's not involved in this war much.
Right. Their Navy is fishing boats, if they have it, if there is any.
But yeah,
I think. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
I think one thing I observe is that when I see people I think a tennis match, right? I think some American whatever just I don't want to play with boycott these tennis players from Russia or something. I don't want to play with this Russian player. I feel like that is just is all because Russia is not same as Russia, right? Russians is not same as Russia, right? The decision of the president Putin to go to war doesn't mean the Russians are supporting it, right? And then so I just see a lot of moral signaling, try to say, I don't want to anything to do with Russians, and then that to me just is maybe because I'm Chinese, in the future, America have war with China, and what Americans going to do with me, right? So
I will not be on this podcast. I will not be on this podcast show.
Yeah, that's why. What did you say?
I said I will not be on this podcast. If we go to war with China, I will not be on this with you show.
Yeah. So that's why I'm very, yeah. Maybe that's why I'm a little bit more sensitive to that issue, but also the Japanese internment camp and stuff like that, right? So yeah, I saw that on Twitter. And oh man, this is I don't think that's I don't know. I don't think that's the right thing. Personally, I don't think that's the right thing to do. Yeah,
I'm wondering if part of the big picture of that maybe could be, if you boycott enough, I guess, Russian people with the sports or whatever it is, then maybe they get. And you're right, it's not their fault. Yeah. They could be anti-war and all that stuff, anti-Putin all day.
Yeah.
But maybe it sparks them to go, well, then we'll do something, right? Because because if we're losing opportunities and stuff like this because of our government, then maybe we need to take care of this at home, so that way we then have the opportunities. And I mean, maybe that's a far stretch, and maybe it's just a basic human thing of you said, right? It's just Russians are bad, and just oh my god, But I'm wondering if there's the big with organizations doing this, right? Or even if it's a personal level, it's probably just ignorance, and they're just I don't want to play with Russians because they're doing this, and they're just going to blanket all Russians. But I wonder if when it's organizations doing stuff like that, if the big picture is if if you're hey, you're not doing this because your government's screwing up, then maybe they'll change, and then they're hey, you can come back to play tennis or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's a stretch, but that's a thought, I guess.
Yeah, and then that's the fundamental idea of sanctions, right? There was sanctions. Right. Sanction basically try to hurt the people in the country such that the people will, try to demand change in the government, basically. But to me, I feel like it's probably not going to work, right? Because you have a government that's very tough, strong government. It's not going to really do whatever the people that wants. Also, the other thing, I guess it's a strategy in my world, but I'm not sure it's the. Maybe I think there's maybe better alternatives that we did not think about. Also, something about human rights, right? You talk about human rights, American talk about human rights all the time, but the sanction actually is hurting the people, right? Humans in Russia, right? So, and whether they support the government or not, right? So they cannot withdraw their money from the bank, to pay their rent. They're gonna suffer, right? So yeah. I guess there's a different level of suffering, right? Ukrainians are being bombed. Of course, they are much worse than the people that are being sanctioned in Russia, right? So yeah, I'm not an expert in policy, so it's just something to, I don't know. Yeah.
It's a delicate balance for sure. And you're right. You want to try to avoid being making it hate against Russians, because the vast majority have absolutely nothing to do with causing this. But at least for the sanctions, I think one angle is it's not to hurt regular people, though it does. That is an effect that you should recognize. But to hurt the quote unquote oligarchs that supposedly run Russia and have at least some amount of power, against whatever Vladimir personally wants. So, the idea is that we'll have the oligarchs like start having their stuff seized and lose their business and stuff. Are they going to like demand something different or just get Putin killed, and cause like a change because they realize like that this isn't like, it's what's their motivations, right? Like I assume most of them just want to become richer and they realize like this is like not helping them at all, but very much hurting their goals. And it's not an ideal situation, but like it's a tough, right? Yeah. But like it feels like, I don't know, at this point it feels like probably the right balance because it's close to as I feel like the world's doing close to as much as it can without actually sending like military to get involved and starting a war with Russia and them, right? And escalating the war. So they're like, how much can we like push back without like creating a second war, And it's this tricky balance. Yeah. Well, third world war. But yeah, I meant like, a war between not just Russia and Ukraine, but Russia and now other countries, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. It's tough.
No, it is. It definitely, I don't know. I mean, who knows what will happen with it? I mean, yeah. It is pretty crazy. It's wild that we get to see all this crazy shit. We're not even 40 yet. What a time to be alive. What a time. What a time. There's World War III among us, and I can get a box that can create wine from molecules.
This is good.
What world are we living in?
If the World War really kicks off, it might be hard to get wine. So maybe having the stash stuff of this, Kana thing could be helpful.
So they're behind this. They're behind this then. Then Kana is behind this. Those sneaky bastards. I mean, that's clever. That's clever.
But yeah, no, I do feel your point, Shu, because it's crossed my mind. I think a lot of people have talked about like, is this what, is this going to be in the future? Is China going to do something to like Taiwan and we're going to see this repeated? Yeah. I saw people talking about if China was like using this as like to test the waters, sort of being like, what's the, worldwide response if you actually just send like military in to like, claim the place you say is yours, but disagrees.
Yeah.
So. Very interesting. But apparently China's not, I feel like I've seen stuff where like China's like not happy about how far Russia's gone and they've sort of like backed off on supporting them and stuff. And it's like, oof, that was like Russia's one big partner.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, hopefully China is not happy.
Like if even China stops supporting them, it's like, what are y'all even doing? What are you hoping to accomplish? I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah. I think actually during like one of the Olympics, I think there's a banquet and Putin was present in a banquet in China. Xi Jinping, I think in one instant actually somehow Putin actually put his hands on the shoulder of Xi's wife somehow, like maybe just put a coat on her or something like that. I think that I feel like there was Xi wasn't happy about it, like so that could be all why. But anyway, so yeah, that was I don't know. Yeah, that's something that happened a while ago. Yeah. Anyway,
she'll be the new Helen of Troy. Is that what it'll be? And then China versus Russia over the wife.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. By the time we actually do our next podcast, which is usually in a month, even though we say 2 weeks, a good chance the wars actually be resolved. But
it'll be World War IV by then,
No. True.
All right. So, another important worldwide topic, K-pop.
Now, that is truly World War III. And that's how he invaded America, right? The Koreans invaded America.
The culture war with K-pop.
Oh yeah, the K-wave.
Yeah, it's already like America are being invaded without what do you call that? Without they know it, right? So
yeah, just tell BTS fans that BTS will never perform while this war goes on, and then they'll just invade Russia and then they'll take out Putin themselves, and you can owe it all to the BTS fans and the army. They'll send in the real army, and they'll go take it on, and you're like, oh my god,
Jake solved it.
Yeah, there it is. That's how you do it.
So wait, are you actually like a big K-pop fan, or not that that's like bad or anything? It's just you don't look like what you would traditionally think of as like a K-pop fan, right?
Let me tell you though. So Michael and I went. So last Thursday, there's a K-pop group called Twice, and they're pretty big. They're a pretty big group, and they played at the State Farm Arena, and you're in line, and you really do. And I was not sure what to expect. Like the type of people I was really thinking, and maybe you're just thinking cliche or joking around. You're like, I'm just going to be a bunch of teens or whatever like that, or older people or that. You really saw all walks of life. Like you really did. You saw like girls dressed up. I saw more schoolgirl outfits than I ever think I'd ever see in my life. You see that. You saw plenty of like dads with their daughters taking them. I saw like some frat bros looking, you know what I mean? You see some dudes, you see some like neckbeard looking guys, it just had everything, I mean? Like it was interesting because I'm with you. I don't feel like I give off that vibe. And if you would have told me like a few years ago that I would be into K-pop, I probably would have been like, nah, there's no way. So, but I got into it. It's fun stuff. I mean, it's a fun dance. It's just very dancey. It's very head bopping. You know what I mean? Like you bob your head. It was a great concert. They played for like 3 hours. And probably like 30 songs or something like that. So they have a pretty extensive catalog. So it was an awesome show. There's no openers from 8 to 11. And yeah, it was awesome. So it was cool.
Do they hand out like the glow sticks that you like swing and stuff?
You got to buy those. The little glow sticks and stuff like that. And each like K-pop group has like their own kind. Cause I guess it's the thing over there. Like they, they'll shine them and stuff. And there's also this thing called a blackout. So like if fans are mad at the group or don't like them or something like that, they'll turn off their little light sticks. So then it's like the sea of blackness from like the stage looking out, and that's just the way that you're like, oh, they don't like us or something, So, but you got to buy those. And they were like $60 to buy there at the merch line. Yeah, the merch was pretty expensive. I'm not gonna lie. It was.
Can you bring your own in, or is there like you have to get a new one at each concert?
No, you could buy these things. I mean, I don't know if you could like make your own. I mean, maybe you can make your own, but then I feel like other fans would like look at you and be like, ugh, what is it? But like, yeah, you can buy them online, but it's probably like $90 because it's like probably you buy them and then you gotta get them shipped to you and stuff like that. So frankly, from what I read from what people are saying is that actually buying them at the merch line, $60 is actually a pretty good deal. Cause otherwise if you get them like shipped to you, it might be like 90 or something like that. And then like the shirts was like 45, a hoodie was like 75, so like some of the stuff was pretty expensive. You can get like a pack of stickers. I mean, they really know how to just like market this stuff and make some profit here. Cause I mean, people are going to buy it. People are going to be fans of it. And if they're young enough, they'll get their, buy it for me, and then like a pack of stickers is like $20 or something like that. And it's like nothing.
Well,
so
before you go on any further, Matt, so what's your vision of a K-pop fan looks like? You say you don't look like a K-pop fan, but what?
I 80% would be like teenage girls, and then 20% would be guys who don't have jobs or do anything but sit in their room all day, right? Like that's my envisionment, right?
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
But, yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're just not entirely right, but you're not wrong. You know what I mean?
Those groups exist. They're just not everyone.
It's just not everyone, but it's definitely there. You definitely saw it there at the concert for sure.
Nice. So I also looked up twice. Oh, it's a girl group. Now, whole girl.
Yes.
Like girl group is about 12 girls. Oh, 9 girls.
9 of them. There's 9 of them.
So question for Jake. Like, which girl do you have crush on?
Oh, okay. So in the K-pop world, you call them your bias, right? You're like, who's your bias? So that's how you call it, like a group. Yeah, like who's
really?
like your That's like there's terminology here in K-pop world of like stuff. So you wouldn't be like, who's your crush, right? That's what you would probably say here in America, like who's your crush on NSYNC or something, right? Or like
who's your bias?
So who's my bias? And Twice, it varies, but I think my top 3 might be like Neon. I like Sana, and then Daeyeon is cool too. But I like all of them, honestly. Sometimes it's really hard to like pick, but like if I just had to pick the 3, or if I just had to pick like on the top of my brain, like those are probably.
All right, my turn for a question. Do you have figurines of any of them like in your room on a shelf somewhere?
Yes, not of Twice, but of Blackpink actually. So
okay,
I should have pulled them out. Yeah, so Blackpink's another. They're huge. Honestly, they were like the first K-pop group to have like 1 billion views on a music video or something like that. Like girl group at least. I mean, I know like Psy broke he was like the first. He broke like 1 billion or something like that, right? But in terms of like a girl group, I think, or maybe even just a group, they with like 1 billion views for one of their music videos and stuff like that. So Blackpink's really big. There's only 4 members on that one. Yeah. Twice is 9, and this is all like 3rd generation too. So there's like different generations of K-pop and stuff. You have like 1st generation, which was probably like the 80s, 90s and stuff like that, and then like 2nd generation comes out. I got into it mainly around 3rd generation stuff. And then now you have like 4th generation bands coming out like ITZY and like Everglow and like aespa and stuff like that. I mainly like the girl groups mainly. Maybe that's just I'm a guy. I don't mind BTS, honestly. Like I like some of their songs, but you have like Stray Kids and there's like Monsta X and like.
Well, to be fair, BTS look girl enough.
They look. This is pretty. I mean, they're very. You're like, this is a pretty man. You're like,
Shoes like they look feminine enough for me.
Exactly. Shoes like I might mistake one of them, and then it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. So, Mike, I'm going to interrupt Shoes interviewing, role for a little bit, but I want to ask, since you're not, a K-pop fan, what did you think?
So Jake has gotten me into Twice and Blackpink. So I knew probably about 50% of the songs they played. Like I actually knew, I'd listened to them a fair number of times. So, I will say I enjoyed the concert, as maybe a slightly more outside perspective. I definitely recognize like the formula, that they sort of like that. I think a lot of these bands will follow. So, there's definitely the show was insanely like choreographed, right? So so I feel like even there were moments where they like talked to the crowd, and the like formula for that was like each step forward, each would say so Twice's fans are called onces. So
each K-pop group also like your band, like your fans, there's a name for them, right? So like BTS, you're called the Army, like Army. Blackpink, you're called Blinks, right? Twice you're called Once. And there's a bunch, and so every K-pop group, they have like a name for the fan base.
Right. So basically, so at the concert, basically they would do 4 to 5 songs. They would do their like choreographed dancing to the songs. And then they would sort of line up and they would sort of step forward and say like, we love you. Like, or, the person would sort of say, we either themselves trying to speak English or like through a translator, they would basically say like, are you like, we love you onces, like, and are you ready to have fun with us tonight? And that was generally done 4 to 5 times throughout the show. Like
Michael didn't care for those parts.
It felt like a little, so K-pop has sort of like the stereotype of like, oh, it's like a very cutesy, like nervous, like cute girl, like, and they played into that like a little too hard. Like, it's like they could have, like, they've traveled to the US multiple times at this point. I'm guessing they could have like had something like a little more substantive to say, but it was just like they giggled and sort of said that every single time. So I was just like, it's playing into the stereotype a little too hard. But
sometimes, I think they were pretty genuine, to be quite honest with you. There's probably some, formulaic aspect to that for sure. But
yeah. Now, to be fair, I think a lot is how they growing up, right? Growing up, exposed to stuff like that. And it's a lot of like, if you see in China and Chinese teenagers when they're growing up, girls, right? They will be when they see Korean dramas, that's how they act in the drama TV show. They adapt those actions from X, right? So yeah.
Wow.
So in Korea there's a thing called like acting cute, and it's called like aegyo. I might be pronouncing that terribly wrong, but and that's like this person's doing aegyo, and they're like they do like the cute thing, right? They're like, oh, like stuff like that, right? It's like sort of this concept of like purposely acting cute, but not that everyone like does that per se, and sometimes they make fun of each other doing it and whatnot. But I guess it's like this little, I don't know, a cute thing to do or whatever. So
I will say though that I want you to talk, Jake, to talk about like the schools. Like a lot of these bands evolve out of like schools. This is like a learned thing.
Right. So with K-pop, what I find very interesting. So here in the West, I feel like people are like, you like seeing bands form with like, we were friends, we met at a bar, and then we just formed in the garage, and here we go, and you're like, oh, cool. Whereas in Korea, how you have like you have a bunch of like production companies, right? You have like your 4 main ones in Korea. You have like JYP, YG, SM, and I want to say Big Hit. All right. So like YG Entertainment, Blackpink's on that. JYP, that's Twice. SM Entertainment is like Red Velvet. That's another girl band. They're really good. And then like Big Hit, I believe, is like BTS. So a lot of what these will do is like, okay, like here's our production company, and you can come be a trainee here. So you're like, I'm 14 and I want to be a singer and a dancer. I want to be a pop star, and I'm 14, let's say. And let's say they're doing auditions at the local mall or whatever. Sometimes scouts just find a person. They're like, oh, I like you, So let's just say you're a trainee. You're like, oh, I want to be a pop star. Let me go audition. So you go at the local mall or whatever, do audition. They're like, cool, come, and then you can become a trainee at this place. All right. So you're a girl and you come live there. You live in a dorm with other girls and stuff like that, or boys too. Like if you're a boy, you live with the boys and stuff. And then you train. They essentially teach you how to sing and dance and stuff like that, and you choreograph stuff. And I think you still go through like basic like schooling, and also how to like learn English and like. I think like etiquette and stuff like that, and like culture, and and then you have to constantly kind of keep audition. And then it'll be like, okay, here's your like midterm coming up or whatever like that, And so you have to be like, okay, cool. I have to like, I've been working on this piece, so I'm singing this song, and then and you do the midterm or whatever it is, and you do that to stay in, right? So some people like, oh, you're not good enough now, so we're gonna let you go or whatever. And then so you're having these girls, boys, whatever, doing this stuff, and then you're a producer for this company, and you come and you watch, and then you kind of put stuff together. You're like, all right, I'm going to put fucking Rachel, if it's like America, let's say, I'm going to put Rachel, Stephanie, and Stacy and Michelle together. Let's see what that's like. That's kind of weird. Let's mix this. And then you like play around with the pieces. You're also making the music outside of what this is. And so you're like coming up with the band names or whatever as a producer. And then you find the girls. You're like, this is the combination we like. This is what we're doing. And then they debut. And then that's what it's called, like a debut and stuff. So then you're like, all right, we're going to debut Blackpink. Yeah. In fact, if you want to know more, I mean, Blackpink, they have a documentary on Netflix about them. And it's just like an hour and a couple minutes. But it just sort of talks about like that process and stuff like that. So some of these girls trained for years, like I think one of the girls on Twice, Gio, she was a trainee for like 10 years. Same with Jennie from Blackpink. She was like a trainee for like 9 years, so you do this, and some girls train for however many years, never get the debut. Some train for like 2 years and they get the debut, so it just kind of varies. It depends on what the producers like and stuff. And then they debut them, and then there you go. And that's sort of like, so they sort of create these groups. So that's why I think a lot of people sometimes don't like K-pop. I think that they find it to be too formulaic and too fake maybe and stuff like that. And, I think there's some of that could be valid. I think it's kind of neat because I guess I like to make music. So I think of it from like a producer's perspective, being like, that's pretty cool to like, you can make this band, you find the people, and here you go. And I don't know. It's just kind of different. Now, of course, there's controversies that happen. Of course, you know what I mean. There's going to be advantages being taken and stuff that it's not kosher, not good. So there's going to be scandals here and there for sure in the industry. But so that's how these groups are formed. So Twice, for example, through a TV show. It's a TV show called 17, or no, it's called 16. Sorry. So think of like, okay, this is like American Idol or like The Voice or whatever. And you have these girls, and you have like majors and minors sort of. So they categorize them. And so like, they try out, they do their stuff. And if they like, if the judges like them, you're stayed on, or if they don't, they kick you off. And so basically at the end of the show, they formed 9. They're like, we're going to take these members, these girls that joined this TV show. They won it. We're going to combine them. Here's 9 of them. Here you go. I think 2 of them were kicked off previously, but JYP, who was the actual guy, did the show and stuff. And he was like, I'm going to bring back this girl because I liked her, and I'm going to bring back this other girl because I liked her, put these 2 together because they won. And there you go. That's how Twice formed, essentially. So.
So I wonder now, how you say in the school and the industry, now what's the percentage of success rate, I guess? Now, for example, you have all these people in like going to school, but what's the 1% of them became like popular, successful, or just 0.1%?
I would say it's probably just as much as it like here being like, I want to be an actor and be famous. Like, what's the percentage of people in America or just in Western countries who want to be famous and be an actor and be a celebrity? Like I think it's a pretty low percentage, and I would say it's a pretty low percentage for all the trainees that go and show up and do this stuff. And some of them might become like backup dancers and stuff, or maybe they go for different reasons or whatever. But
yeah,
I would say it's a pretty low percentage, to be quite honest.
Yeah. So what's the difference between K-pop and American pop? I don't know anything about music. I don't even know what is actually pop. So.
I mean, I feel like here, I don't know. You know, it's funny. See, in the documentary, so this guy Teddy Park, who's one of the like big producers of YG for Blackpink and stuff like that. Like he's wrote all their most of their songs and stuff like that. And he even said, he's like, why is it called K-pop? Is it just because it's pop music? Like it doesn't pop music and insert whatever country, and it's pop. We're K-pop and Japanese pop music, J-pop. You can, you know, what S-pop, Serbian pop. I mean, you know, that's his mindset. Is like pop music's all pop music. Just, you know, just because it comes from a different country doesn't mean that it's like really anything different. I think K-pop, you know, when you listen to it, they definitely are like, here's a formula for the songs, which is like how pop music goes anyway, right? It's usually like a 3.5 minute song, you know, like between 3 and 4 minutes, like even 4 minutes, you're getting like, that could be almost considered pretty long for a song, you know, but that's probably your max. You know, what starts off, there's an intro, then you have like your verse, then maybe you have like your pre-chorus, then you have your big chorus, and then it goes back to the verse, and then there's like a breakdown, and then it ends on the big chorus, and then maybe like a little outro, and there you go. You know, and then each girl or boy in the group has like a role too, right? You know, so, you know, and there's titles for these. So you're like, oh, I'm the main rapper. This is the lead rapper. This is the main vocalist, the lead vocalist, the main dancer, the lead dancer. There's also the visual. So in Korea, there's like the visual is just like what that person in the group is like the ideal look of Korea, essentially. You know, like who is like the prettiest, and they're all pretty, you know, but like who is like the ideal like person of that group, you know what I mean? So,
gotcha. So you talk about Twice and Blackpink. Like, what do you specifically like about them, like specifically?
Very catchy. So that's the thing, is very catchy. And with Korean stuff, it's very, you know, like 80% of the lyrics are going to be in Korean. Okay. Now they'll sometimes like, here's a song that's in Korean. Sometimes they'll redo it in English. Sometimes some bands like Twice, they're big in Japan. Say like a lot of K-pop groups will also do songs in Japanese. But there's always English in them, you know, and, also another cool, if you want like a quick sort of like explanation of the history, is if you watch, you know, the show Explained or whatever that's on Netflix. Oh, there's a show called Explained where they like sort of explain things. They go through like the history of K-pop. So like the first like big K-pop boy band was called like Sojin and the Boys or something like that. And it was sort of like, you know, so they're using like this guy's Korean name. So you're having like people around the world like not knowing how to pronounce that. So that's why now this one guy, this one Korean producer guy was like, let's simplify this. So that's why certain like Twice, Blackpink, BTS, these things are easy to say. They're good for international audiences, for people who don't speak Korean or don't always know, you know, and then that's why a lot of even the choruses will have English in them, you know, so it's like you're speaking Korean and then there's like, here's an English word and then it's back into Korean and then the chorus is like full blown English, essentially. You know,
saying that Sojin was in the first mouse. They died.
Yeah, they kind of were. They were like this, like 80, you know, think of like the 90s, 80s, like, you know, New Kids on the Block type style, but Korean, and then like it just sort of like took off from there, you know. And obviously, you know, BTS formed in like 2013, you know, so like, and they blew up and they're huge. I mean, the whole world, you know, they sell out stadiums like it's nothing. So,
yeah. So isn't there any reason why Korean though? Like there's other Asian country, like Japanese, you know, assuming they have pop too, you know, Chinese, you know, but Chinese will be late, but yeah, Korean, Chinese. So why Korean?
I think they just figured out the formula the best. I think they just figured out. I mean, that's why there's the K-wave right here in America. You know, there's a big, you know, I mean, I watch K-dramas. They're great. You know, they're honestly, some K-dramas are so ridiculous, but you like love the ridiculousness. But some are actually like really good that you're almost like, this is better than the Western dramas. You know what I mean?
Have you seen My Sassy Girl?
No.
You should watch it.
Okay.
It's a movie. It's a movie, so it's not a drama yet.
Okay. Okay. Do you like zombie movies?
I don't like zombie movies.
Oh, you don't, Matt? Do you like any zombie flicks?
That's a movie. That's Korean. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, dude, Train to Busan.
I've wanted to watch that. It's kind of like on my list.
Good. You should watch it. Train to Busan's great. It's a great zombie flick. It's just a great movie in general. Also, #Alive is another good zombie movie, and that's Korean and stuff like that too. I mean, the movie Parasite, right? The movie Parasite was Korean, and that won an Academy Award. So I mean, I think Koreans, I think they just figured it out. I feel like the companies there just figured it out. I think they just have the better pop stuff. I think Japan is probably more for like more rock and roll music. I think they do better with like metal maybe, and like more like traditional rock and roll, I guess. I think they mess around with, but I think Korea does like pop music the best. It's just catchy. It's very head boppy. It's very dancey. Like it just makes you want to move and bob your head and stuff like that. So
I feel like Japan, and I don't know how true this is, but at least in the US, I feel like Japan was kind of like the interesting, like they had their cultural surgeons, like the time period when Japanese culture was like really spreading around internationally a lot, kind of in the past a little bit. And it's kind of like settled down where like we know there's like some amount of Japanese culture has spread around and we're accustomed to it. And it's like Korea's kind of like a new version of like a cultural, surge of new interesting stuff that, Korean food, Korean dramas, K-pop. It's kind of, I feel like a lot of this in the last 10 years has started to get more popular in the US.
For sure. And it makes sense. I mean, because I feel like, Japan was, I think, like, more on the world stage for a longer time. I think, the Korean War was like early 50s, and Korea has a very interesting history in themselves. And so, and that's what boomed their economy too, was sort of, they were like, let's like spread our culture, our culture and stuff like that. And, whereas I know Japan can be kind of isolationist. I don't know if that's, I would say is that general for like Asian countries, they can be kind of simply, maybe like.
Yeah, definitely has something to do with because American is actually stationed in Korea, right? So actually, South Koreans and stuff like South Koreans, stuff like that, right? So it's very much integrated in a way, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, but it's true. The K-wave or Korean stuff it's definitely new, and I think it's like and maybe because we have the Japanese stuff, maybe it's like still familiar, but it's new at the same time. So it's not like completely like out of left field, because it's like you could, I guess, as Americans or Western people, you could maybe find similarities between the two, even though there's so many differences. But I guess just from our, Western eyes, we can see like a correlation. And then so you're like, oh, this is still like fresh and new, but it's not like so new that I'm like freaked out by it or anything.
Yeah.
So
go back to K-drama. What kind of K-drama do you watch?
Oh man, I mean, I'm still trying to finish Hotel. Squid
Game?
Game's great. I mean, yeah, look at that. That's I missed that one.
That was big. That was like, that's like not a K-drama fans watch. That was like an everyone watch, right?
Everyone watched it, but it was made in Korea by Koreans, and everyone loved it. I mean, Squid Game was great. I can watch Squid Game all the time. I mean, another good one, but this is Japanese, but it's similar, is Alice in Borderlands. You guys should check that one out too. That's actually really good.
I feel like I've heard of it.
Yeah.
But I can't think of what it is.
It's kind of like a Hunger Games-esque, but like not really. It's sort of like everyone's gone. And then it's like based in like Tokyo, essentially. It's like everyone's gone and you follow these people and they're like in a game. So you have to partake in these games. And if you like don't, they'll kill you. You have to like get points as like you go on. So it's not like you can't just not play. You have to play. And if you don't, then like this like satellite will just like laser beam down and like kill you sort of deal. So that's a pretty cool show. But I mean, like, there's a bunch of K-dramas that are like on my list. There's ones that are big, but Penthouse was a recent one that I kind of watched. That was a big one. That was absolutely ridiculous K-drama. It's sort of like, think of like your soap operas, but like almost even more extreme, so there's some stuff that you have to like, you're like, that's unbelievable, but like you love it because it's just so ridiculous. You buy into it.
So what type of drama is it? Is it like thrill, mystery, romance?
I mean, I like them all, honestly. I'll take a cutesy romance. There's one called Yumi's Cells, which was based off a webtoon, a webcomic, and it's basically just like you follow this girl who's in her 30s and she's finding love and like navigating her life, There's one that I watched called Backstreet Rookie, which is about this like guy who runs this like 24-hour convenience store and like falls in love with this girl. So like K-dramas will have a lot of like love triangles and like weird love, they'll have like cheesy moments for sure of like it's slow-mo and I'm coming to hug you from behind and it's like this big deal, and it's like, and you would be like, that's so cheesy, but like you kind of get into it and you're like,
so good though, right?
Yeah, it is. Like K-drama they'll be long burn. It'll be like 16 episodes and then like you have this love interest, and then like they won't like get the first kiss to like the 15th episode or something.
Yeah,
like
it's on the star-crossed lovers and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Either the girl gets cancer or the guy gets cancer. Usually the girl that gets cancer. And
someone's getting cancer.
Someone's getting
cancer.
Cancer.
Be a good romance without a little cancer.
It's not it's not a good romance without cancer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I personally used to watch a lot of Korean dramas. Actually, Chinese actually loves Korean dramas. But anyway, I used to watch a lot of them. The reason I stopped because they made me cry too much.
Right. I get it. You would like Sisyphus. Sisyphus is a cool one. It's like a time travel K-drama that's pretty cool and stuff like that. So, but there's a love story element to it. But I'm with you, right? They're emotional. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really get that. I'm not going to get that from watching Chicago PD. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to get the same level of that. Like, I don't know. And then what's cool with K-dramas, a lot of times it's just one season or two at the max. You know, they're just like one and done. Here's 16 episodes. Boom, that's it. And then, you know, on to the next thing, I guess. But
they actually wrap up the story, or
they actually wrap
it ends?
Yeah. No, it'll wrap up the story. So if it's just a one and done thing, you have 16 episodes, let's say, and it's like there's the ending, and that's it. You don't get any more from it. You know it. So it's pretty rare if K-dramas go more than like 2 seasons, really, you know.
Yeah,
so.
I think that's very, like in Chinese TV show that I think probably Japanese too. It's always like that. Like that's why when I came to the US, like it's like every season, like you watch like NCIS, a friend just keep going every season, every year. It's like what the hell is going on? You just like in Chinese, right? Just at most like 40 episodes, and then you're done. You know, your final is done. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
I feel like. Yeah, a lot of those classic US shows are episodic, right? They try to make each episode pretty independent, and then it's just like, we'll just keep rolling it rather than having like an overarching story that like the whole show tells, right? I feel like that makes a big difference.
Yeah, actually, this is something I took a while for me to get used to when I came to the US, because every like TV episode is not just episode, and then it kind of starts over in the next episode, like in the storyline kind of in a way. Yeah, well, in Chinese now, or Korean drama is always in series, right? So
yeah, and always each episode will like end on a cliffhanger, so you're just like, I want to watch the next one, you know? I mean, like, and you binge it, and then you're there you go. So, so it's weird. So I guess I feel like that's why Korean stuff is making it. They just figured out this formula between like shows and music and stuff like that, and I don't know, and there you go, just churn them out, and I don't know. There's something about that formula that I guess just works, you know. And then they play around with it, probably, you know. Yeah,
Hollywood got stale.
It kind of does. I mean,
new ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, you know what? That's why I remember years ago when Inception came out, I loved it because it was because it was such a new original thing at the time, you know. And even still these days, you're like, what new and original is coming out? Everything's like a remake of something. They're rehashing it, or it's another Fast and Furious movie or something.
Fast and Furious 17, the
exactly.
30-second Marvel movie, you know, and not saying that those are bad, but a lot of people play it safe.
Oh, for sure. So, you know, which I mean, I get, you know, but it's just like, I'm ready for something new, you know, I want to see some new stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so.
All right. We talked about you invest in what you know works. So
right,
yeah. So that's why Hollywood will just like keep cranking out that shit.
Yeah, I can't blame them, right? Like, why wouldn't they make another Fast and the Furious?
I mean, people buy it.
I do wish they would more often. Like we have new and interesting stuff from the US. Like Netflix has a lot of shows that are, you know, different, right? They're coming out with stuff all the time, right? Stranger Things was a little unusual when it first came out, and that became a big hit and stuff like that. But I do wish the major companies would maybe invest a little bit more time experimenting and not just running with what's like the most reliable. But
yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so much, and even if they don't want just like original screenplays, I mean, there's a bunch of cool like independent comic books, let's just say, that they can like take from. I mean, speaking of Netflix, I mean, they did like Sweet Tooth, that show Sweet Tooth on Netflix. I haven't seen that yet, but that was a comic book. You know, and I read that. So I mean, they have plenty of like source stuff. If you're not like getting just original writers, it's like, well, they'll just take this other medium and let's make it into this or what, you know. So, but all right, definitely
bringing things back to K-pop.
Okay,
Mike, who in the Thrice group are you going to get a figurine of? That's what I want to know.
You mean Twice?
Twice.
So I think Thrice is a metal band, I think, or something like that.
That's all right. So who's your bias in Twice, and how long until you get there, like, figuring?
I think my bias is Zooey. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
she's from Taiwan. So in Twice, you have 9 members, and most of them, 3 of them are from Japan. You have Sana, Mina, and Momo. They're from Japan, and then you have Zooey or Chewy, however you can relate. Sometimes they call her Chewy and stuff, but she's from Taiwan. So,
really?
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. So that's Michael's favorite. She's considered the visual of the group. So she's considered like the prettiest, even though they're all really pretty. She's like the face, I guess, that they're like, that's like the perfect face, I guess, for like, you know. And Korea has like crazy beauty standards. Like it's very interesting there in Korea. Like they're insane. Their beauty standards.
Well, I've heard that like the majority of people have had plastic surgery.
Yes. No, South Korea. Yeah. South Korea.
True? Like,
yes.
Like they're one of, I think it's not only encouraged. Actually, a lot of times, like parents, like when birthday, will give you like a gift to do, like to get plastic surgery. I think.
Yeah, like probably one of the big ones is like double eyelid surgery sort of deal.
Chinese do that a lot too. So
yeah, but you know what's weird is that in Korea, so it's sort of like encouraged, but it's also still like, but they'll still like look down upon you. It's weird.
Really?
It's like, it'll be like, oh, you should get surgery. It's totally okay, and then you get it, and they're like, I can't believe you get surgery, and you're like, what? You're like, I thought like. It's just that intense. And then there's a very much of like a conformist thing there, right? Like you see videos, like if you're like, oh, like I follow some stuff on Instagram where it's like, oh, come to Seoul and stuff. And let's say it's like cold and during the winter, like they'll have like those big black puffy jackets, right? That are long, and you will see everyone wear those things, sort of like conformity is sort of kind of like a big deal there. You don't want to like stand out. I think Korea is still kind of like a big conservative a little bit when it comes to like sexuality and like PDA and stuff like that. Like, you can hold hands going out, but I think like it's looked down upon, like if you're making out, like if there's other people around to see, and there's just a lot of certain etiquette and stuff like that, which I would,
even Chinese too, Asian cultures are like that. Yeah.
I would imagine. I was going to ask, I was
conservative culture. Well, not like American. You just like take, pull your shirts off, stuff like that.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. So, which I would, I wouldn't be opposed.
So when are you guys gonna get a Korean girlfriend? I guess.
I mean, I don't want to sit here and be like some typical. I have a friend. She's Asian, and I would talk about it. She gives me such shit all the time. She's like, "You have an Asian fetish," and I'm like, "Don't say that shit." Like that's just because you have like neckbeard guys that like they make. I'm like, I don't know, man. If you're a pretty girl, I don't care where you're from. If I'm attracted to you, I'm attracted to you and stuff like that. Do I like Asian women? Like, yes, but that's probably because I like brown eyes. I like like dark hair and stuff like that. It doesn't matter if they're Asian. I just happen to like the hair and stuff and the look. So it's like, but you have neckbeards that give a bad name for it because I think they have an actual Asian fetish because they like whatever they see on anime or something like that. They want some sort of like, they think it's subservience or something like that. They have some issue there. So they give other white guys like me a bad name for being like, I like Asian girls. And then everyone's like, Asian fetish. And I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. I like German girls. I like European broads. What do you want from me? You know what I mean? Like, I just like women. Doesn't matter where they're from.
I see. All equal opportunity.
Exactly. I'd breed with the world if I can. I just want to see what my offspring looks like with anybody.
Oh,
I know it's terrible. You can't air this.
No comment. No comment.
No comment on that, which we know what he's feeling.
That just means we're definitely going to air this.
Yes, exactly. So, but no, I mean, I know but the Korean stuff's pretty cool. I mean, in fact, we just had Korean barbecue like a few days ago. So, which I know Michael did 3 weeks ago with you, Matt, and stuff. So we went back to Iron Age.
That's my favorite Korean thing. K-pop or movies or whatever. Side note, Korean barbecue, amazing.
It's good stuff.
It's good stuff.
No, Korean food's really good. I really like a lot of the cuisine and stuff like that. So,
like, not in the last year, I've also tried like Japanese barbecue, which is very similar. And then I had like a Brazilian steakhouse, where they do like the big racks and stuff. And they're both very good too. But I still neither seem to quite cut it to Korean barbecue.
Yeah.
What's the Korean place Shu took us to?
678 or something like that.
Well, no. 678's the Korean barbecue place. But the like hot tofu, like
Sokomdang. Sokomdang. SOKONG and DONG. To me, it's the best Korean tofu place in the United States.
Okay.
Okay. I can't say I was in love with that place, but it was interesting and felt very authentic.
You don't like tofu soup in the first place anyway, I think.
Oh, that was fine. I didn't hate it. But it was a lot of tofu soup.
It's called tofu soup, tofu house.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, I was trying to remember. Yeah, I was trying to remember because, Korean food has come up a lot recently, and I'm like, oh, we ate at this like hot tofu soup place that's super authentic, and I don't remember what the name was. So yeah,
it's like I've had more than just Korean barbecue. You're a real, Korean fan.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jake, have you been to Sokondong?
I haven't, but I'd love to go.
You should go. Yeah. Also, to me, it's pretty like affordable. It's like $10 per meal, and they give you a lot of extra other stuff too. I was like, damn. Yeah.
Oh, see, that's what. Yeah, I've seen people's reports. Like someone's like, oh, I'm a student studying in Seoul and stuff, and I sit down, I come to eat. I'm just one person. They give you so many side dishes. You're like, how can I eat all this stuff? You just get a lot of food. Mm-hmm. So, which I like that. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I guess I revolve a lot of social activities around food a lot of the times, and I like getting a lot of it and a lot of different stuff. I like being able to just try. It's just fun to have like a whole big spread. And you're like, let me try a little bit of this, a little bit of that, mix it all and stuff like that. So I like that sort of, I don't know,
cool
culture of eating, I guess you can call it.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, enjoying Korean food in Atlanta. It has the best Korean food probably in the country, actually. So anyway, go back to music.
Bold statement.
It is. I think so. Because actually, Korean, I think Atlanta, in the Duluth area, there's a Korean consulate in Duluth, I think, in Georgia. So that's why there's a lot of Korean populations there. And even schools, actually, a lot of Korean, like, I remember when I was in a PhD student, there's one person in my lab, one of my first lab in Georgia Tech. He decided to live in Duluth, which is like 30 or 40 minutes away from Georgia Tech. The reason he lived there because there's a lot of Korean population. Also, the schools are there is one of the best in Atlanta area actually. So that's why they live there. So anyway,
I'm checking the housing market there. Hold on a second.
So going back to music, I think Matt. I mean, Jack, you briefly mentioned that you making music yourself too.
Yeah, I like to. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
what kind of music do you make?
I mean, I play guitar mainly, but I can dabble with a little piano and stuff. So, if it just kind of depends on the mood. I mean, I'll make like cool, funky groove stuff, but since getting into K-pop, I've wanted to get more into like try to make pop music, which I've never really made. I mean, usually it's like, I'll make like rock music, whatever, just stuff that's like, with drums, guitar and bass, your typical stuff like that. But then, kind of getting into K-pop, I was like, man, I like this. This is just very catchy. I've never really been big into, I guess, Western pop. I mean, sure. I mean, and also, what do you really define as pop music? I mean, sometimes I really just generally think pop music is just, it's popular music, right? Like you could consider, I don't know, name a rock band and their Beatles are pop music, right? You know what I mean? Like, but let's just go with the, what we're talking about here, like a sort of pop with like a synthesizer, like a, dance music, dancey type stuff. So ever since getting into that, that's what I like to try to make. I want to like, cause I guess I just like the formula of it being like, all right, here you go. Here's like, you do like two measures of this with a verse, and then you go into the pre-chorus and it's very similar to rock music, right? All music sort of is a formula, and you just maybe like switch it around a little bit. Some music might start with the chorus, sometimes it start, and you just switch it around. So yeah, I don't know. I'll make anything that kind of, I get inspired by it, whatever. So,
so it's not, that's cool. So do you have anything you make we can play on a podcast? Like insert here right now, like
I could maybe, I don't know if I could upload anything right now to you, but I can send some.
No, not right now. I'm saying that when my edit it, you can insert something in here, so I can hear what Jay has made, like original music, right? That's really cool.
I can give you something for sure.
Here's what I want. I want your song, and I want you to do 4 different dances so we can like cut them. So there's like 4 Jakes on stage doing the like, K-pop synchronized dance.
Oh, I mean,
just you.
I love that. I mean, we're still trying to, we still want to edit Michael, his face, and make it. So twice they have this song called Likey. And the chorus is like, me likey, likey. And so we want to call it like me Mikey. And we want to just edit Michael's face into like all of twice. So it's like 9 members, and that's just like Michael's face with the hair and shit, And So we haven't yet to do that yet, but we will. But I'll do the dance thing. That'll be great.
Yes. No.
Well, that shouldn't be too hard, Mike. Just run one of those like deep.
Let's do a deep fake thing.
Yeah, face replacements.
Oh yeah, you absolutely could. So.
I was actually going to write the code to do the deep fake, but I'm sure I could just find an app to do it. So.
Well, you can just do a shallow fake instead of deep fake.
Yeah, that's true. Just like do a bad Photoshop on the.
What's shallow fake? You get Microsoft Paint and you cut out his face from a picture and just put it on.
It's funny, and the dances too. Like in K-pop, the dances like there's big choreographed dances and stuff. And I remember being in the line. So when we went to the State Farm Arena, we got there. They said the doors open at 5:30, so we got there a little after 6. But the line was huge. I mean, it was around it was blocks long because I guess they just didn't open the doors yet. And so we're in line. We finally found the end of the line, and we're in there. There's these 2 girls behind us. I don't know how old they were, but they were dressed up in some sort of I don't know, almost schoolgirl outfit garbs. Yeah. And they were behind us, and they kept being like, "All right, let's play a game." While we're waiting, and they're doing they're quizzing each other, doing certain choreographs and stuff. And I would occasionally catch it, and I would know it, and I wanted to play with. It's one of my regrets of the concert was not turning around and being like, "Can I play?" And then be like, "I know that dance. That's that song. That's this. That's that group." You know.
Why did you turn around? Why did you turn around?
I didn't, because I was probably concerned I would be creepy. And so.
Yeah, that's a gamble. They either this is a fun moment with other fans, or they're this creepy guy is creeping on us, and now we're stuck in line together for an hour.
Exactly. And when it comes to that, I will often take the safe route. So,
the risk of being perceived as creepy is the risk. Is if that happens, even that risk is nothing, right? The cause of that. But I'm saying if you turn around and they do enjoy the game, then you have a lot more fun, right? So. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm saying the risk of the cause of that and then the gain of that is asymmetric, right?
Right. Now, it would have been cool if I would have turned and they would have been cool with it, and then I would, because I heard them talking about other groups, and they're I think they're trying to name members, and I'm whispering to my friend, I know all the members of that group, and I didn't and I really wanted to and I would say stuff out loud, to see if they'd hear me and stuff, but yeah, I probably should have just took the chance and turned around and done it, and then if I was just creepy, I could have just turned back around and been like, well, that was embarrassing.
Zero
that's true. Right. Yeah.
You're not going to get killed or anything.
That's fair.
So, all right. So, I guess, I mean, talking about, so were you guys wearing masks in that stadium? That's something
you could. I mean, you did. I was
over there.
I think it was sold out. I mean, I want to say it was
how much you think, Michael? It was 18 to 20,000. It was packed.
Wow.
Yeah, it was packed.
Honestly, it may have been more than that, actually, because most basketball stadiums seat 18 to 20,000, and the whole floor was covered too. So it may have been over the floor up. So
yeah,
they need a bigger stadium. Got to go to the, Brave Stadium or something.
Yeah, Mercedes-Benz. I would guess if Blackpink came, they would do Mercedes-Benz twice as slightly smaller than them. So
right, it's because Blackpink, I think, they're a little bit bigger internationally because they have more international members. So Blackpink, there's 4 of them. You have Jennie, Rosé, Lisa, and Jisoo. And so Jennie, she, and 3 out of the 4 of them could speak perfect English. Jisoo is actually pretty good English too, but she's still she's straight up from Korea, and so she's got a pretty thick Korean accent, but she can understand English very well, and she could speak it pretty decently too. But Rosé, she's from Australia, so she's Korean, but she's from Australia, so she can speak English fine, and she's got I said, Australian accent and everything like that. Lisa's from Thailand. Her stepdad, throughout her whole life, he's some Swedish chef, and so he speaks English pretty well. So she speaks English, so she had to learn. So Lisa, she's from Thailand. She came to Korea to train for this, and she had no idea how to speak Korean, and learned it being a trainee and stuff like that, and so so she learned to speak Korean fluently. And then Jennie is from Korea, but lived in New Zealand, moved to Australia for a little bit, and then eventually lived in New Zealand for many, many years, and then came back to Korea to train and do all that kind of stuff. So she knew English going in and stuff like that. So I think they're big internationally because you have 1 girl from Thailand, you have 2 of them from Australia, New Zealand and stuff, one from Korea, and the fact that they could speak really good English, I think, like, relates to Western people too, and then there's different concepts of like K-pop stuff. Like there's there are girl crush concept, and girl crush concept is like empowered women sort of deal. It's sort of like I'm badass and like, I don't need no man, and like, we're fierce. And so like, that's sort of like the concept of Blackpink. I think there's even like girlier ones, like there's like Girls' Generation, who they were like second generation girls and stuff like that. They were big. They were probably like the first big girl group and whatnot. And I think their concept was something different. Might have been like more cutesy or something like that. So, so it just varies and stuff. So Michael's bias of Blackpink, I believe, is Rosie.
All right.
Right, Michael.
So, yeah.
All right, moving on.
It varies. No, it varies. So.
Michael likes the stuff. Listen, he got into it. He'll listen to it on his own.
When did he get into it? When did you get him into it?
I mean, I got in the course of the last 6 months to a year, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I got probably into it like probably during COVID. Like I would say probably during like 2020 time a little bit. So
that's pretty recent. That's very recent.
Yeah, nice. I haven't been into K-pop like very long, you know what I mean? So I mean,
what triggered it?
I don't even know, honestly. I think our friend Paige, she started getting into like K-dramas, and then I think I was watching a little bit with her, and then I think just like,
wait, you only get into K-drama recently too, like 2020?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, so for the past like 2 years, I really only
got. You miss a lot, dude.
I know.
I started watching like 10, 20 years ago. So
yeah, so you're probably, you have a more extensive.
But I have stuff seen, so yeah.
No, that's good, because then he can go back over like, a decade of just the best shows, right? And just like watch them whenever he wants.
That's true. So it's been fairly new. I'm trying to think what really got me into Blackpink. And it's weird because I would see them. So they debuted in like 2016. And it wasn't until I got into them, I'm like, I've seen them before, like just online, like seeing stuff, like, like they do a lot of like, I guess over there is something called like V Live, which I think is like their equivalent to like almost like a Facebook, maybe not a Facebook, but like, I don't know. It's like you get on live and your fans, they're talking to you and stuff. And like, you're just like, hey, we're these celebrities and we're, I'm here and I'm hanging out with my other person or whatever it is. I don't know. And so I would see them before, and then I don't know what happened. Maybe I saw a music video. Maybe we were just looking around. We're like, maybe we were just like, let's look at some of this stuff. We're like, I heard of Blackpink. And then and I watched their documentary on Netflix, which got me more into them and stuff like that. And I just really like their music. So I was just like, man, this is some good stuff. I don't know. It's just different,
So when did you get a Blackpink figurine?
I have Blackpink. I don't have twice figurines. I don't think
so when did you get it?
When did I get these? Probably like a year ago or something like that.
Oh, okay. Because assuming like in my mind, it's like, you probably like fan of them for like, I don't know, long time. Yeah.
I know.
So...
No, I'm a new guy into it. So, well, my friend Paige and I, her and I, like, so the reason why we have these figures is because they were like sort of like the mystery packs sort of deal, and we were just like because we're looking at merch. I was like, I want to get like a shirt. Like, by the way, this is a Twice hoodie. I bought this off of Redbubble. It was only like $40. So I bought this like before the show because I didn't like some of the merch they were having. So I was like, I wanted to find something new and different. So this is like their logo, right? The T and the W, and it's just a bunch of the different girls like on it and stuff like that.
So to me, I heard only $40. To me, it's like, it's $40. It's expensive, and you say only $40.
Well, it is. I don't disagree with you. I guess I say it's only $40 compared to like, if you bought their like legit merchandise, it's like $70. Yeah. So like, I guess this is, the price of one of theirs. I could have bought two of these, I guess. So, and it's a custom, I guess. So maybe that's, but normally I wouldn't spend $40 for a hoodie. So,
So you did mention that when you saw like, when you first like exposed like Blackpink and you find this is you like this a lot, and you say it's like very different, right? So I guess I'm not sure if you can articulate what's different.
I guess because like even though I think even like the parents have asked, or people have just been like, how do you? Even Michael's like, you can't understand what they're saying, right? It's Korean if you don't know Korean.
Oh yeah,
but I guess Right. So you're like, you don't know. I don't know what the lyrics always are. I mean, I've picked up Korean here and there from watching K-dramas and listening to some of the stuff. So you're like, okay, I can kind of know what that is, but sometimes I really don't, and then if you look up the translation, it's going to be, it might feel weird because I feel like that's a translation, right? I feel like with a lot of language, like they're saying something and it might, if you know it, it's coming out differently than if you just were to like, oh, here's like the Google Translate. And you're like, well, that's kind of a weird lyric. How does that make sense? But you're like, yeah, but I feel like it translates differently with it. But I like the melody, right? I like the how, like, even though it's in Korean, I don't know what they're saying. I like the vocal melody of it. I like the musicality. I like the beats they make. And just, it's just catchy. I don't know.
Does it touch you emotionally in a way?
It's different than that, right? Like, if I go for like emotional touch, like, all right, like my all-time favorite band of all time is like Pearl Jam, right? Like, give me some like good old 90s stuff or like, yeah, Pearl Jam. I don't know, like good classic rock, stuff like that might be different. And maybe it's because it's in English and I know what there's, it's the lyrics are different, right? I'm listening a little bit more to the lyrics. And generally when I listen to music, actually lyrics is like the last thing I really listen to.
Oh, really? Okay.
When I hear music, I'm literally listening to like what the music is, and then I'm listening to like how the vocal melody is. Because sometimes it could be great lyrics, but if it's not a catchy vocal melody, I'm not into it, or if the person's voice isn't that great, then I'm like, I'm not, I can like certain bands for the music, but not for the singer. I might like some bands that for the singer and maybe not necessarily for the music per se, and be like, oh, they have a good voice, but I don't really care for their stuff, let's say. But, I don't know. There's just something, I guess it's just catchy music. There's a bit of a repetitiveness to it, but nothing outrageous. Like, it's not like, it's like any other song, right? You hear that chorus probably like 3 times, like think of any song and think of like, you're going to sing and you're going to sing the chorus and it probably emerges in that song 3 times. You're going to hear a verse. And then, like I said, the formula of it, verse, a chorus, a breakdown, and then like chorus, and then it ends, cause the chorus is like that's your catchy part. That's your, let's say like the refrain, right? You hear that over again. And I guess just with some of the K-pop stuff, it was just fun. That's what I mean. Like Twice and Blackpink are very different with some of their music and stuff. Twice, I think, is a little bit heavier with some of the stuff they do, a little bit harder. Twice, we'll do that too, but Twice also has a very good, like just a good driving, like type of like dance beat. You know what I mean? Like,
gotcha.
I recommend it to everybody. I mean, check it out. I could tell you some songs that I'd be like, all right, I recommend getting into this one first versus like this other stuff.
I think, I'm not if you guys remember, but I think Korean pop like got really big in America was around Gangnam Style, right? In 2010 or 11.
Yeah, that was Psy. Yeah, Psy brought it. Psy was like, I think really like brought. I mean, I feel like K-pop was kind of like small here. It was kind of going on, but I think once like Psy happened and Gangnam Style was the thing, like that was everyone was like, oh shit, Yeah. And see, that's in English, right? Like everything in that is Korean, but he's like Oppa Gangnam Style, and so that's in English, Gangnam Style, and everyone knows that. You know what I mean? And then there, and then you do the dance, So,
yeah.
That's like, don't bring back those flashbacks, man. I don't want to
remember like the end of high school and people doing that dance and stuff, right? Like,
yeah.
Anyway.
He did a song with Snoop Dogg. Psy did, the guy who did Gangnam Style. Like, there's a song, which I forgot. I haven't heard that in years, but yeah, he did a team up with Snoop Dogg. So, Snoop Dogg's into it, so you're like, all right. If Snoop Dogg likes it, then it's got to be good.
Especially when you smoke weed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, get high, and K-pop is great. You're like, this is good shit. I could fuck with this,
Okay.
So that's what I mean. It's just good head bop and stuff. I like anything with the groove and that can get me moving. And I guess that's what I really like about K-pop is that it's just got this really good driving beat, and you just sort of, and you just want to dance to it, and you're just like, yeah, and then like the choreography could be really fun too, and stuff. And it's just, I don't know, it's just fun music, I guess is what I like about it. And I guess what I like about not really always understanding the lyrics is because, you know what? I don't want that to hit. Sometimes I don't. It's more like if it hits me on an emotional level, it's probably more like a good emotional level, more like it's fun. And I'm like, maybe not. It's more of an escape for me. Whereas if I want to like really, if I want to feel, then maybe that's when I'll listen to like Pearl Jam, like some Soundgarden, guys who are like, they're more poets with what they write, listen to some Beatles or something like that, Rolling Stones, whatever, right? Where they're writing lyrics. It's a little bit more poetic. And that's when I'm like, okay, I want to feel here. Listen to some Adele or something, right? I guess if you have a heartbreak or whatever, but, but like, yeah, K-pop is sort of like, I could just escape. I don't have to like know exactly what they're singing about. Like, I get it, and I could look up the lyrics and whatnot, but like, and it's not what they're singing about. It's bad. It's just like, I'm there for the music. I'm there for the vocals and the melody. But the lyrics kind of don't, they could say whatever, they could be like singing Death to America. And I would just be like, yeah, like going with it and like not caring, and be like, this is fun. And you're like, this is an anthem about destroying America in the West. And I'd be like, someone's got to, someone's got to put us down. I don't know.
Exactly.
That's fine. So.
You might as well be Koreans.
I'll take it. Yeah, why not? Right? So, at least it's the South Korea.
Yeah, South Korea, exactly.
Which, funny enough, see in North Korea, Kim Jong-un, he likes K-pop. That Red Velvet, a group, they came and he wanted them to perform for him. So like they came and like performed for Kim Jong-un and stuff like that. And like he posed a picture with them, and his bias was this girl in the group called Irene. Her name's Irene. That's like her English name. I can't remember exactly her Korean name, but Boo Se-hung or something like that, I think. And although the girls were like afraid of posing with him and stuff, she's like, I'll do it, fine, So like, so he's like next to her and stuff, and you're just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
So maybe K-pop is the cure to, the strife of the world. I mean, if Kim Jong-un can sit here and enjoy some K-pop, maybe Putin will too.
That's what I'm gonna say. Send some K-pop to Russia.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
K-pop diplomacy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, no, it's good stuff. I don't know. I like it. I love to go. I mean, I've never really, the farthest I've been overseas is like Mexico. So I haven't even been to Europe yet, but honestly, like Japan has always been on my list. I love Japanese history. So it's like I know more about Japanese history than I do Korean history per se, but,
you're about to say more than American history. But.
Yeah, I know. Right. I mean, maybe honestly, I might know a little more about, there could be a chance that, I could probably tell you who like the fifth emperor was of the Heian dynasty. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I guess
can you say the fifth American president? I don't know who the fifth.
I don't know. Yeah.
Not
who was after Thomas Jefferson, right? Huh?
Not Alexander Hamilton.
Was he the fifth?
Alexander Hamilton wasn't a president.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, he got killed.
I think it was the second Adams.
Yeah, it was
Washington.
John Quincy Adams.
Samuel Adams.
John Quincy Adams.
Good old Sam Adams. He was the best president that we've ever had.
He was either fifth or John Quincy was either fifth or sixth.
Yeah.
Mike's showing off his prestigious high school education there.
I think that may have been eighth grade where we had to memorize the presidents. But.
So I guess next topic for Jake is Japanese history.
Dude, I'd love to go into that stuff, man.
I did propose we're going to talk about weeps, but man, not good.
Don't bring me on for that. That's
why not?
I have one quick question though for Jake. I'm going to interrupt for a sec. The Last Samurai, how accurate was it on a scale from 0 to 10?
Oh, Last Samurai. I mean, the movie. I love that movie, honestly.
Good movie, but how accurate was it?
I mean, in terms of exactly what? I mean, it was during like. The Meiji restoration periods was like Edo period, so it was like what, like 18, like it was like the late 1800s essentially, because it was after the Civil War. I mean, depends on what you mean exactly. Could an American guy go there and just be fine? Probably not. I mean, like, although there was a black samurai named Yasuke or something like that, and he was sort of became like the emperor's like not like a right-hand man. I think he was more of like an executioner or something like that, but he was, and maybe not even officially technically a samurai, because samurais were like knights, right? You know what I mean? Like you were like a lord almost, was like what you were. But, yeah, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10 for Last Samurai, maybe like a 4 or something to 3. I mean, the aesthetic I think is there, the fact that they were, at the time Japan was like, they were still isolationist, but they were like they allowed Western trade to come in, and they were getting influenced by the Western, and then, samurais were getting, outlawed and stuff like that. So it was essentially the end of like the samurai period, which lasted, hundreds of years, obviously, and so, So with that aspect, I think it was pretty accurate. But in terms of like Tom Cruise doing shit, like probably not, but it's a fun movie. I love, honestly, that's one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies. I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan, but like Last Samurai, I've seen several times. So
it's a good movie. I'll agree. Even if some of the premise seems a little out there, right?
For sure.
How things worked out, but you're like, it's good to watch.
Exactly. Anyway. Yeah. So no, but I mean, what kid doesn't love like ninjas and like samurais as a kid? You know what I mean? Like you love that shit as a kid, I guess. As a boy, you're like, oh, dude, like that's so awesome. And then like, I guess I just researched it enough and looked up more, like ninjas didn't look like your typical ninjas, right? They didn't wear the all black in the face stuff. I mean, there was some of that happened a little bit later on during like the Sengoku period, which was like the Warring States period, which is all the cool stuff that happened in Japan, right? Like that's what you think of like, when you think of like the height of samurai, it was like the Sengoku period. And so ninjas were, you could probably have some reconnaissance where like, they would dress and they would wear more like blue and like green. They wouldn't wear black. They want to look like the background, like the nature, I guess, right? And so I think if you're wearing all black in front of a sky, you might actually see that, where you want to wear blues, like a darker blue. And also ninjas they weren't always like that, right? Ninjas were actually, they started off as just sort of like farmers. That's why their weapons would be like sickles on like chains, like a kasurigama is what it's called. And why their swords were different than like katanas, right? They were short, they were straight, and they have these big subas, which is the guard, and they were square. Because presumably what they would do is like, here's a wall I got to get over. I'd stab the sword in the ground and I could step on the square. It was like a bigger guard, right? Like the hand guard. And you could step on that and then like grab on to the ledge and then use your feet to hold on your sword and bring it up. And there you go. And so like ninjutsu, the art, that martial art. And when we talk about martial arts, I personally love ninjutsu a lot because it's a art form that's more like bone breaking, because ninjas, they weren't fighters. Like if you went head to head with a samurai, you're probably going to die. So like the tactic would be like break a limb, hurt them, and like dispatch them and then get out of there, but essentially the ninjas started off as just like farmers and they would spy, so like most ninjas aren't going to be like, I'm going to wear the cool ninja garb and go out. Yes, that eventually happened, but they mainly started off as just like, maybe even monks, and they're going to spy on stuff and like,
So they were the original practitioner of no cheating, no championships.
Exactly. I mean, right. Yeah. Cause samurais would fear that. Cause samurais were all about like dying in battle and dying, in a fight and stuff. So they were afraid of like, being killed in their sleep or something like that, or poisoned, or, where they couldn't defend themselves. So yeah, that was cheating, right? That was your way of, here you go. And yeah. I mean, Sun Tzu would appreciate that. I mean, yeah,
exactly.
War doesn't matter. It doesn't, when it comes to fighting, and this is my philosophy, even if you're just like a person, like if you're like, oh my God, I'm about to get in a bar fight here. One, we're adults now. You should you should avoid it, because if you kill them on accident, then your life is over, or vice versa. But I always believed that, size can be a big factor. And if it's extreme, then it's going to be a huge factor. But I always believe that it's just whoever's crazier,
Exactly.
So cheat, right? Like, fuck, I'll bite a dude's nose off if I don't give a shit, like you got to fight to survive. You got to fight to win, and there you go.
That's what Jack Reacher says. When you, his best advice of fighting is tell your opponent you're going to hit him and count off 3, but hit and count off 2.
Right. There you go. Just sucker punch them, especially if they're bigger than you, man. You're like, I got to do what I can to survive. I'll take a beer bottle and whatever, or you just run. So, but yes, no, Japanese is right. I do love I don't know. It's some cool stuff. So, because I just love samurais and, swords. I don't know. It's just sword fighting in general is just cool to me. I don't know. I wish we can go back to that. Yeah. This whole Ukraine and Russia thing would be a lot easier if there wasn't like nukes involved, like
just saying samurais. Yeah.
Yeah. Just send in some samurai. Exactly.
Just a few, 200 people on each side go to a field with some swords, and then, last man standing, right?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, and you know what? You don't have to kill each other. Let's just make it a LARP thing. You know what I mean? Just get some foam swords, just LARP it, and then no one really has to die. And then if you're just, that's the last person that wins, and there you go. It settles it all.
All right.
So. We've solved everything tonight, guys. This is great. K-pop cures it. LARPing cures it. I mean, nerd culture all the way, right?
Yeah. Nice. Stay tuned for next topic. Jake's next topic, weeps.
No, God, don't do that shit. Don't drag me into those motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Are you not a weeb?
You're not a weeb?
I don't think so. No. What am I? Am I a weeb because I'm knowledgeable of it and I like some stuff?
Japanese history. It sounds a little bit, but maybe it's only borderline. Okay, not too bad.
Weebs don't get laid. Okay, weebs stay. The weebs are all about like, while you were getting laid, I was studying. I was busy studying the blade. I'm like, I did both.
Jake's like, I have the katana on my wall, but
I do got the katana. It's the Pussy Slayer 3000 is what I call it.
All right.
Listen, cool. Ben Franklin will be proud of this. Okay.
Who?
Ben Franklin. I'm saying Ben Franklin.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
We've clearly kept to the spirit of bettering ourselves by talking about important issues of the day. We really did that today. Accomplished it.
I mean, escapism, right? I mean, we're all hearing stuff about the war and all this stuff going on. I mean, everyone's got escapes a little bit. If K-pop does it, then that's what
if you look at Twitter, I did the other day, and the top 2 trends were like,
twice.
Well, no. I mean, one of the so the top 2 trends on Twitter right now are Manchester United and Sunday vibes. Ukraine is 4. So
Sunday vibes is out.
I saw like an interesting thing with like on Twitter, like the different trends, like before they stopped the media stuff with like Russia or whatever like that. Like you're not seeing as many like of the Russian trolls, like, dividing our, like the top, like Twitter stuff or whatever it was. Maybe it wasn't Twitter exactly, but it was just sort of like internet search or whatever. Like you had a shitload of Ben Shapiro shit on there and like just a bunch of right wing stuff. But since the whole, like everything's been going on, it's like, here's what's really going on. And the reason why I mentioned Twice, because Twice was on there, and it's probably because they're touring and stuff, and other K-pop shit was on there as well, amongst many other different lists. But you're not having all the, like, the Russian, computer farms, all the people, right? All the servers that they're sitting there and like flooding our systems with like fake news and all this shit, all this divisive stuff. And then now since that stopped, you're seeing, you're like, oh, no more Grand Theft Auto 3 screenshots anymore on Imgur, So
yeah, if someone's like, replies and likes to their tweets dropped by like 60% the day after Russia was banned from Twitter, you're just like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, then you're like, oh, okay,
that's suspicious.
Yeah, definitely. So I know it'll be interesting what happens. I don't know.
All right, Shu, you're the next topic, right?
I think it's you.
Is it me? I
yeah.
thought.
No. Our last episode was team. Shu did teams.
You're right. Oh God, I gotta.
5 dysfunctions of a team.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. All right. Well, then we don't know what the next topic is, but I'll get on.
We can always talk about weeps.
I really don't think that'd be a good or enjoyable podcast, but maybe one day you'll break me down and I'll say, okay.
I enjoy it, I think.
Like, I don't think our standards are very high, but we got to maintain some standards.
What if the Weeb episode is your highest episode yet? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
All the Weebs are like, I love this. They're trying to call in. They're like, wait a second here.
We don't have any lines to call in, but they're like,
trying to email. They're like, how do we email these guys? They're misconstruing a bunch of shit. Who we are. This is our world. This is our culture.
When we used to be live, Matt Sullivan actually did write, like,
oh yeah,
he wrote in while we were live once, but he wasn't a question though. It was just like Junto Club, But yeah. So all right, well, whenever this episode gets released, Matt will have an episode that follows that at some indeterminate period of time.
So very exciting. Right. Hold your breath, folks.
Junto Club.